Hello, and welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies. In this case, I was about to say the Star Wars stories, because we're doing a Star Wars story. It's solo, but we're doing it 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I'm Tony Thaxton. I play drums in a little band called Motion City Soundtrack. And there's a website, you know. Do you care? I don't know. We'll not get into that again.
Websites.
Welcome back to websites.
Yes. And thanks for coming back again today, Tony.
Thank you for having me. Always a thrill.
Well, this thrilling minute starts with a car starting up and Han Solo popping his head out from under the dashboard. And it ends with Han Solo getting out of his car to go look at some dogs. But this, the kind of little quick montage, montage, that's not a montage, but the quick sequence of just, you know, the different parts of the car as it starts up and it revs its engine. That's very much like a George Lucas-y thing, and it's very much you know, I thought of the pod race, or like when the X-Wings are getting fueled up before the, you know, before the trench run in the motion picture. Like, it's very much like appealing to George Lucas's interests.
He loves his hot rods.
He's a car guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it made me think of that, and talking about old Star Wars language versus new Star Wars language. This is kind of in line with that.
Well, one thing I don't, I'm not crazy about the way we are first introduced to Han Solo here.
Okay.
It seems very,
okay.
It seems kind of, and I'm not saying it has to be built up to this big, you know, ta-da kind of moment, but it feels kind of anticlimactic that it's just kind of him sitting up in a car and just looking straight on, and then he just kind of drives. Like, I feel like there could have been more, I don't know. Like, I think about, like, one of the best intros ever is Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you see him from the back and you see he's in shadow, and it's like, who is this mysterious guy? And it kind of leads up to a big reveal, and I don't know if it's because they were super sensitive to the fact that they are replacing Han Solo with a different actor, so they didn't want to have it be a big build up and then have everyone laugh when it's, oh, that's not Han Solo, that's just some kid. Right. You know what I mean? They're just kind of like, let's just introduce him as a regular guy and not build it up to him being a big hero. But I found it just kind of I found it kind of emblematic of my problems with the movie as a whole, where it just feels like it's just kind of
as a whole.
It's like, maybe that's what makes it feel like a TV movie more so than a movie where like they could spend more time setting up shots and lighting and stuff like that. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the introduction of Alden Ehrenreich. I have no problem with Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo. It's
right.
But I think it doesn't help. It doesn't help matters to have him introduced in just kind of like a whop, like here I am kind of way, not like a.
I agree with you slightly.
Setting this up as a cool guy.
I think if they just held the shot for another couple of seconds before he pops his head up,
right? You
know, like show the front of the revving car for a second in the dashboard, and you're like, what's going on? And then he just pops his head up and it's Han Solo. Like, I would have liked that. I don't have a problem with this, but I would have liked that maybe a little bit better, or just something where it's
right. The engine revving up and then him popping up and then the thing peeling out would have, like, I feel like that would have been stronger. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically, you get like a couple of seconds, right? Because don't you see like the kind of like hot wiring of the car, and then
you see his
2 seconds later,
his hands.
It's him, but you see his hands solo.
His hands so low below the below the steering wheel.
Yeah, I go back and forth on this, and who knows, you know, depending on what's going on behind the scenes, I go back and forth on this between really appreciating the artistry of the direction and cinematography, and then kind of backing off and being like, it's a little basic, you know, like it
right.
Kind of goes back and forth between being kind of, you know, a film and a movie to me, in a sense, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm just like,
Scorsese. It's not cinema.
They did that well, and that was a good, it's a good, interesting artistic choice. And then the other time it's just, they're just pointing the camera. That's like a snapshot. They're pointing the camera at the action and not really But we'll see. Mostly, I think it's the former. There's some beautiful, interesting stuff in here. Speaking of beautiful, interesting stuff, I do love when we first see Han Solo that he's wearing essentially like the negative image of the classic Han Solo outfit. Like
he's wearing his pants on his top and his shirt on his legs.
Scars on his forehead.
Yeah. Yeah, but the classic Han Solo outfit is the white shirt with when we first meet him, it's the white shirt with the black vest over it.
Yeah.
And here he's wearing the black shirt with the white vest. So it's like, it's Han Solo, but it's also not the Han Solo that you know. It's like a little bit.
Wait, it's a vest? I thought it was a jacket.
What, here or originally?
Yeah. No, here.
This whole time you thought Harrison Ford was wearing a jacket in episode 4?
Am I crazy?
I mean...
Oh, no, yeah, okay. I'm looking at I have the official guide right here with me. And,
but yeah, later he definitely wears a jacket.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I guess my eyes just always took this as being a... How about that?
Look at that.
I cannot weigh in either way. I could not tell.
Well, that's another issue that we'll have, and it'll keep coming up, is that a lot of, and I know what they're going for here is a kind of dark and gritty thing, but it's a little bit too dark.
Yeah.
Maybe turn down the dark and turn up the gritty a little bit, because it's like, and
you love gritty.
Yeah, he's going to show up in here somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'll second that emotion. I feel like I wrote down it has the color palette of a Civil War drama. It looks like it's like all like sepia tones and
right.
For me, that was a big hurdle for me because I think, as I probably mentioned at the time, Thor Ragnarok had come out.
Right.
And I loved Thor Ragnarok, and I loved how bright and colorful and fun it was. So I was like, it'd be great if the Han Solo movie was, like, I want it to be Smokey and the Bandit. I want it to be light and cool and fun, and to have it shot in this very desaturated color, and everything's very...
And again, it's not all of it. It comes and goes, and there's different. It'd be interesting to be able to
comes more than it goes. I'll say, but
to pin it to specific, behind the scenes stuff, or maybe I'm imagining it.
Right.
But
well, I looked up the cinematographer is Bradford Young.
Yeah,
and
he
does tend to do movies that are on the grayer end of the, like he did Arrival.
Mm-hmm.
He did a movie. He did that movie Selma about Martin Luther King. He did a movie about chess called Pawn Sacrifice, about chess players in Russia. And so he does tend to do more heavy drama type stuff where I could see this style being a more I don't want to say appropriate but it doesn't seem to match the tone of the story, which is generally very adventure-y as opposed to...
It's also supposed to be, he's coming from a dark place and escaping that. But I feel like it still lingers in that for a while after he gets off. If it was just Corellia that was like that, and once he got out into the real world, it was like, oh, look at how bright and colorful and crazy everything is. That would be different. But and it is more,
definitely
colorful later. But also it does suffer from this, and especially at this. I saw this at a drive-in, and. The first part of a drive-in, the sun is still kind of setting, so like things are muddy anyway, and it's like I had no idea what was going on in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think when it kind of like brightens up as it goes on, and I do also feel like the movie improves as it goes on. I know I'm getting ahead of everything, but that's just... I won't be here the whole time, so I just wanted to get that out.
We haven't seen the rest, so we can comment on it.
Yeah, well, get ready, guys. I think it improves.
I will say on the positive side, I love the shot of the Star Destroyers hanging overhead as he's going about, because obviously, aside from just the world building thing of the coolness of seeing that, it's a good literal reminder of the fact that the Empire is over their heads at all the time. Like the Empire is a factor here. Don't listen to that opening stagger. It is a law-filled time, and you can see because the Empire is literally hanging over your heads, moving like a shadow. So.
Yeah, it's those big Corellian ships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it does a good job of being with the look that it has there, it's like kind of a different look of some things that we've seen before in Star Wars, but at the same time still feels very Star Wars, which I feel like sometimes when they put us in these new settings, that ends up being people's complaint a lot. Is like, this doesn't even feel like Star Wars or whatever.
Right.
Whereas I feel like this kind of like did a good job at kind of putting new with the old in there.
Yeah.
I'll second that emotion.
Speaking of putting the new with the old, should we talk about Alden Ehrenreich for a bit, or should we finish talking about the actual things going on in the movie for a second? A major one coming up. We got the dice. Let's talk about the dice.
Well, we got the logo too.
Oh, and the logo.
Yeah.
The Solo logo.
Like a kind of we kind of like fly through it in like a hologram. It almost seems like a floating hologram. Like it almost makes it look like it's what's not diegetic. Is that would that apply in this case?
Yeah, like if you like drove through, but that would be a weird. Yes. Yeah, it seems like it's something that is in the world there.
That would have been a better way for him to get his last name than for some Imperial guy. If there was like a it was an ad
like a
for
soft
like
drink or
the
something
detergent or something.
Right, and he George Glassed it. He's just like Han. Yeah.
Or he's so poor that could be like a thing. Like companies pay people to change their last name to their brand, and then they get paid a small stipend every month.
What is it, Golden Palace or something like that was paying people to like.
Yeah, they had to wear like their logo on their.
Yeah, some people
Gary
got
Coleman.
tattooed
Something
on
happened with Gary Coleman, I think.
Could be, yeah.
Or Gary Coleman signed a deal where every time he did a public appearance, he had to wear a hat promoting some online gambling website or whatever. But yes, so we see the logo, and then we see the classic dice.
"Quote unquote" classic dice.
Well, they were at least filmed in the last. They were in the last movie, so they're at least,
Yeah, they really tried to make these a thing out of nowhere. It seemed like, because I will admit that I never noticed the dice until probably a couple years before The Last Jedi. Like, I had never, ever, ever noticed them. 'Cause they're only in Star Wars, right? You don't see
barely.
them
They're in like one shot in Star Wars.
Chewie hits his head on them.
Yeah,
right.
I think,
and
so
I had never picked up on it
because I mean, up until DVD release, essentially, like you couldn't tell, or like special editions, you couldn't see that. You were watching a fuzzy old VHS tape of it or Betamax, and it was details like that were just purely lost.
Yeah.
So then slowly it started to be like, oh yeah, did you see he hits his head on something? Like, is it dice? Maybe it's dice. And then it became, it's that slow march towards having something be like something the fans notice, to something that like, is officially kind of mentioned as being part of it, to being like, here's the thing, like,
Yeah. It felt, it feels, I don't know, I guess it works for this movie, but the inclusion in The Last Jedi, I felt like, was a little more of a stretch. Like, they made him, and that was first. I know not first in the timeline, obviously, but as far as the release, I don't know. If these had been flipped, I feel like it would have worked a little bit better. If Last Jedi had came out after the
Solo. The emotional payoff would definitely be better if it was, obviously his death, and the dice becoming. This is kind of like retroactively making them important.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish they were big furry dice instead of little cool little metal dice. I don't understand why he's just like stealing this car, right? This is like a speed. He doesn't. That to me is the weird thing. The fact that he's stealing the car and that he takes time to put the dice up. Like, does he do this every time he steals a car? Like, that seems like
it's like a good luck charm. He throws it over the thing.
So
to make
it's like a I was gonna say OCD thing, but yeah, good luck charm.
Same.
Yeah. So that to me seems weird, that it was almost like contrived to just put it in. Like, he's like, every time I get in a car, I have to put the dice in there. And then,
if he was traveling for more than like 3 blocks or whatever it was, it would make more sense. Here, it seems like he gets in the car, throws the dice in, and then parks it to get out.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's, time elapses while we're looking at that beautiful logo. So who knows?
I'm assuming they sell those at Disney at
beautiful
Galaxy's
logos.
Edge.
I do feel like I've seen them places. I do know that when I saw this, I went to like the very first available screening, and it was also like a special one where they would give you some stuff. Like we got these little like posters, and then they also gave us dice. But yeah, I think I have seen them available. Maybe in Disneyland. I can't remember. But what I was going to say, too, about the dice, I did not realize until I was looking at the guide earlier today that I never put it together that these were chance cubes.
That's true. I guess technically they are chance cubes.
Yeah. It says like that's literally how the book describes them. It says they are, I wrote it down, Erodium-plated chance cubes.
I think dice is a trademarked thing, so they have to call them chance cubes.
No dice.
No Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Oh, forgot about it. Well, so Tony, suppose you've just mentioned the first time you saw it. Do you remember? I guess where did you see it?
It is. I am always a little bit embarrassed because it's like I live in Los Angeles and it's like the dorkiest place to go. But I have a reason, and I've gone to see a lot of the new Star Wars movies there. I saw it at Universal Studios at the Universal City Walk, which is a very like touristy, dumb area, and it's expensive to go there. But the reason
just like being recognized. You like when people point you out. They're like, "Oh my God, that's Tony Thaxton."
Exactly.
Like, oh,
That's that frequent guest of Star Wars Minute.
The reason I do go there though is because you know how so many theaters are called, like they'll say it's in IMAX, but it's really just like kind of a big screen.
Yeah.
It's one of the few real IMAX screens there. So that's why I always try to go there to try and do the IMAX thing. But yeah, so I saw it, I think it was like 5:00 first showing or whatever, and got my dice and my poster and went and saw it. And,
chance cubes.
Yes. I'm sorry. Chance cubes. My Erodium plated chance cubes.
Erodium.
That doesn't sound healthy. Don't keep that. Don't put those in your pocket. That does not sound like something.
Why wasn't Tony on your Rise of Skywalker season? No, he died of erodium poisoning after we covered Solo.
But yeah, I don't know if this is where you're going to, but I enjoy this movie. I know a lot of people wrote it off without even seeing it, and then some people, I don't know too many people that saw it, if they at least gave it a chance, that didn't at least go like, yeah, that was fun, and that's all I really want. If I can leave just going, I had fun, I'm good. And I had fun.
It's I was originally saying it about movies like this, and then I've adapted it to some of the live action TV shows, but it's like, if you can just give me an excuse to hang out and play and, go live in Star Wars land for 2 hours, like, great, fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even when it's bad, I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is bad. There's things about it I don't like moments here and there, but that's always going to be the case, and that's just like nitpicky stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here.
Well, did you? So let's talk about him. How did you feel about Alden Ehrenreich?
I like him. I think he did a really good job because first of all, what a terrible position to be in.
Sure.
Like that kind
under the
of
dashboard.
So low.
Like it's kind of like a you have some serious balls to even like say yes to this, like after getting this job, because like again, so many people just like wrote you off immediately. Or are gonna hate you without even seeing it. And I think he does a good job because I feel like he does a good job of like kind of just capturing the aura, kind of like he's not really doing an impression, but he kind of just gives you the overall vibe.
He's getting the core right.
Yeah.
He's not doing a Harrison Ford impression, but he is doing a Han Solo. He is acting like Han Solo. So.
Right.
Yeah. He does great, I think, and I want to see more. Like, it really did feel like this movie was like setting up for this to be more of a thing.
Like a TV show.
I'm one of the people that are still hoping there can be some more.
Yeah.
They're totally setting it up to reboot Episode 4, because now you have a new Han Solo, you have a replacement Mark
CGI
Hamill,
Luke.
you have ObiWan Kenobi is still Ewan McGregor, and he's the it's now 20 years since Revenge of the Sith, so it's like
and he looks just like Alec Guinness did.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll kill him off this time in Episode 4. I think they'll keep him around. So
you got a Baby Yoda. So
got a baby. Yeah, totally.
the Alden Ehrenreich. We talked about this not too long ago in something. I forgot why it came up, but he famously, perhaps, was discovered at a bat mitzvah. A friend of his was also friends with Steven Spielberg's daughter, I think, and they were at a bat mitzvah together, and so at the party, Alden Ehrenreich showed Steven Spielberg a video that they had of a comedy sketch that they had done. According to Alden Ehrenreich, I ran around as a skinny little punk trying on girls' clothes and eating dirt. And they showed it to Steven Spielberg, and he was like, "This kid's hilarious, and let me get you an agent." And got him an agent, and he was like, "That kid's going to be a comedy star." And then he's done mostly kind of drama action stuff after that. So,
but he's managed to work with He's managed to work with. In 2016, he worked with Warren Beatty.
Mm-hmm.
In 2011, he worked with Francis Ford Coppola. 2013, he worked with Woody Allen. Guess that one's not so cool anymore.
No.
But I mean, considering that he was born in 1989, he's got a lot of good directors already under his belt.
Yeah.
So,
well, I can see some blowback from that of people, and the Coen brothers.
Coen brothers.
I can see some blowback of him. Like, just because this guy met Steven Spielberg at a party.
Yeah.
And he gets to jump the line and do all this stuff.
Right.
But
well, he's not had a huge. He didn't get a big boost. IMDb only has him doing one project since Solo. I mean, that's
he's
actors,
been in like a TV series, right? Though.
Right. Yeah. The Brave. That's the one that he did. He was in the Brave New World TV series in 2020.
He was on 2020. He replaced Hugh Downs. Just acting as Hugh Downs. It's Hugh Downs, a 2020 story, and it's Alden Ehrenreich as young
this
Hugh
guy
Downs.
loves filling big shoes.
Solo Downs. Alden Ehrenreich is 5'9". You want to guess how tall Harrison Ford is?
Isn't he like 6'2" or something like that?
Tony, you want to guess?
I'll go 6 foot even.
Oh, 6'1". You're both right.
Split the difference.
Yeah. Do you have any more Alden Ehrenreich trivia?
He was named after family friend Phil Alden Robinson.
Oh.
And Phil Alden Robinson is a Hollywood guy. He was a writer, director. One of his big movies, big picture, was he wrote and directed the movie Field of Dreams, which one of the stars of that was Darth Vader himself, James Earl Jones. So, Star Wars connection.
He's actually physically in that movie, not just his voice. Or
James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I didn't know.
I've never seen it either.
Well, let's shift gears. We'll go watch. We'll
Field
go
of
watch
Dreams
Field of
minute.
Dreams.
If you show it will come.
Yeah, it's a good, interesting thing. He also did Sneakers, I think. The Phil Alden Robinson. So anyway, the interesting connection with Alden Ehrenreich to Star Wars throughout.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much I had for minute 2. You guys have anything else that you wanted to chip in here? We're about to get to something.
Nope.
We're going to get out of the car. We might have some dialogue sooner or later.
Get out of the car into your dreams.
That's right.
I had 2 things I was gonna ask. One may be nothing, but just because the name comes up, the logo and everything. The name Solo
logo
for the movie. I mean, not exciting, but also I feel like it's kind of what it needed to be, right? Like, what do you think of the title?
Yeah,
I'm old school, where I wish they had gone back to Han Solo and the blankety blank. Like Han Solo and the Kessel Run, or some kind of
right.
Yeah,
Han Solo and the vile Lady Proxima. No, the foul Lady Proxima. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So I think it was fine, but I think I do remember there being like a video that came out where like Ron Howard like revealed the name And
Right.
it was just, if they hadn't done that, I feel like it wouldn't have seemed disappointing to me because they made it like this big thing. Oh, we're going
Right.
to find out what it's called. And then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely seems like a kind of working title. Like, we'll just call it
Yeah.
Solo for now until we know for sure what it's going to be called.
Right.
That I feel like they just did that again with, we were all like looking forward to the ObiWan Kenobi series, and they're like coming this coming in the spring, ObiWan Kenobi, and we're like, okay, well, yeah, that's.
Which didn't that even change? Weren't they just calling it Kenobi? And now it seems to be Obi-Wan.
I think that was all
Kenobi.
speculation. I don't know. They didn't
Okay.
know what. So now they're just like ObiWan Kenobi, the show.
I think because when it was Kenobi, they're like, does that refer to Uncle Owen really being the Kenobi?
Right,
No,
yeah.
they're like, we got to shut that down. All that speculation.
Still think they missed out not calling it the ObiWan Kenobi Showbie. So
Not just Obi-Wan Shobi
no,
or
That would
Shobi
be-
One Kenobi.
that would be dumb.
Show me Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
If this movie
Richard
had
Dawson
not come out when it did,
Hmm.
and let's say that they
When would it have come?
well, and they planned for it to tell this story now,
Hmm.
do you think it would have still been a movie, or do you think, because they seem to really be pushing these shows now, which I'm totally cool with, but
it would have been a
again
show, I
with
feel
like
like.
what you were saying, this almost felt kind of like a show.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have a feeling like if they were to have
Well-
done this now, it feels like a show to me.
I don't know. Han
Yeah.
Solo's enough of a main character that I feel like they probably would have pushed it as a movie. I think maybe that would have been a more advantageous strategy, is to just do the new trilogy movies every other year, and then when you're done with that, then do Rogue One and Solo, like not treading water, but just kind of like, okay, here's some other story arc completed with that, and here's some other things from Star Wars that we're going to do in the meantime, while we're, hey, what about this guy? Showing them doing that kind of a thing now. Wait a year or two after Rise of Skywalker, and then do these, versus kind of that interspersed, release order of rapid fire. Again,
Yeah.
there's it may or may not hold water, but I think that would have benefited the franchise in the long run, perhaps, if not certainly this movie.
I think if they were going to do this bunch them closer together, I
Mhm.
think they should have not done, it should all be set in the same time.
Mm.
Where, as opposed to like Rogue One, which is set at this time.
Yeah.
I know here's how the Solo movies, because casual viewers, I remember being confused. Rogue One thought that was a new Death Star and that this was like a new Star Wars
Right.
story. So
Right.
and then to go, okay, now we're going to go to a totally different time.
Right.
I feel like that also probably didn't help matters either.
Yeah.
I did read something. This is IMDb trivia, which is apparently a little iffy at times. But I had never heard this, so maybe you guys have. But apparently, this movie, Solo, a Star Wars story, now available on digital and Blu-ray, takes place at the same time that the beginning scene of Rogue One.
I think that's accurate.
I mean, it
So
does
this-
make sense, but I'd never heard that before.
With young Jyn Erso and
Yes.
all that. Young Jyn Erso.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
both of these stories start off with a earlier part and then do a time jump ahead, because this scene with Lady Proxima
Yeah.
takes place 2 years before the rest of the movie.
Right.
He's in the army for
Mm.
2 years, and so
Right.
it's a similar time jump.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it's similar in that there is a time jump, but obviously
But
Jyn
different
Erso's
different
is
spans.
a
Yeah.
bit long.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I had for that. Tony, can you come back tomorrow to do?
Yeah.
It's minute 3. I know threes. Everybody loves threes, right?
I mean, yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Don't get me started on threes.
My 3 sons. 3 is a magic number.
Yeah. On that note, let's we'll reconvene back here tomorrow. Hey, do you like the if you're watching this on video, you like the shirt that Alex is wearing? Because that is available from one of our merchandise shops, SHOPPES. We if you go to StarWarsMinute.com/merch, it'll take you to at least 2 different options of where to buy things that we have made related to the show, or just related to Star Wars that we think are fun. And you can get them, not just t-shirts, it's mugs and notebooks and all kinds of stuff, and with bath mats and what have you.
Bats.
Bath mats and what have you. That's my new store. I'm going to try to compete with Bed Bath & Beyond.
What are you going to sell?
just pets. It's going to be a pet store. But yeah, go check that out. Get some stuff. Meet us back here tomorrow. We'll be here with a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.